So a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Patrick Esuming, joins us via Zoom for a conversation on this development. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Esuming, and good afternoon. You're welcome to Newsbeat. So what do you make of what organized labor has been able to achieve in terms of the debt restructuring program, that it has actually mounted pressure on government that has yielded in the results in excluding pensions from this, action that government is taking?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to viewers. Thanks for having me. So, first of all, I think I want to start by putting the fact that government and organized labor are able to get together and come to an agreement is a positive development. Not just for the debt exchange program, but also going forward, whatever program will be implemented under the IMF, government will need the support of organized labor. So I think this is a good starting point. In terms of, the decision to exclude the pension funds, well, if you look at the magnitude of the domestic debt held by pension funds, I think if you add the private pension funds and the Senate, it's still less than 7% of the total pension funds, of the total debt. Mm-hmm. So in some sense, you could see that this agreement could be, the government obviously has to find alternative ways, but I don't think the quantum that we are talking about is that dramatic, given that it's just under 7%. So, but we still need to find alternative means. So if we are not going to, if pension funds are excluded, we have to find some other cuts. And I think that is why a committee has been formed to see what ways around it. So hopefully, they will be able to come up with ways in particular where we can do more cuts to government spending to make up for whatever gap would have been created.
Yeah, that's very necessary. But did it have to take labor, threatening a strike before government took this action by sitting around the table with this group? And does this also expose a weakness within the communication link between government and labor union?
No, it doesn't have to go this far. And I have in the past been very critical of the government for how it has handled the engagement. So I think the first thing that should have happened, even before we got here, was to sit around the table with all the parties that are directly affected and have a conversation, so we don't have this back and forth. But I guess it's never, it's better late than never. So hopefully, it will be a lesson for government that going forward, when it's embarking on government major programs like this, to sit down with stakeholders and come to an agreement. Everybody knows, let's have a frank discussion about whatever program it is, and then let's try and also reach a common ground and then move forward.
So, finally, before you go, government may have done projections already before it included the pension funds to this debt restructuring program. So now that we have come to an agreement that it has to be exempted, which other option, as you mentioned in your earlier response, which other option or areas do you think government can look or consider?
So the government cannot go back and, change the term for the other groups. I don't think that's an option. It seems to me that what would be more practical is the government to look at, if we could do more cuts to the projected deficit for the year, I think that would be helpful. But also, I'm not sure that we can do much more with the debt restructuring side. I think, the government would have looked at everything that is there and considered before putting this out there. So I don't think they can ask the foreign creditors to give up more, and the other domestic parties, they can ask more from them. So it looks like this will ultimately fall on government, also looking within its means, and then more specifically, if government can do more expenditure cuts, I think that would be helpful.
Dr. Patrick Esuming, Senior Lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, thank you for speaking to us here on Newsbeat.